Imagine a pirate ship creeping along the edge of a jagged coastline. The water is full of hidden reefs. The night is black, and one wrong move could shatter the hull into splinters. Yet somehow, these pirates, who had no satellites, no GPS, not even modern compasses, managed to chart unknown coasts with a precision that sometimes rivaled official naval maps. How did they do it? And more importantly, how many lives depended on those rough, hand-drawn lines scratched into a piece of parchment in a swaying cabin lit only by a flickering lantern? Before we dive deep into this forgotten world of secret maps and dangerous coastlines, let me ask you something quick. If you enjoy unraveling hidden stories like this one, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments where in the world and at what hour you re-watching this right now. Pirates may have sailed by the stars, but I'd love to know what your stars look like tonight. Now, let's get back to that coastline. Pirates lived and died by knowledge. If they didn't know where the shallow sandbars were or which cove was deep enough to hide a ship, their career could end in minutes. And unlike royal navies, pirates had no grand offices in European capitals producing official charts. They had to make their own. The ocean was their parchment, and survival was their ink. Every voyage was a gamble, and every discovery became a treasure far more valuable than gold. Information. The first and simplest method pirates used was memory. Imagine standing on deck, scanning the horizon, and trying to burn every detail of the shoreline into your mind. That crooked palm tree leaning over the rocks. That strange split in the cliff face. The way the waves broke in one spot, but stayed smooth in another. Pirates became masters of visual landmarks. A captain could say, "Steer toward the black hill, shaped like a tooth. Then turn left when you see the water foaming white," and his crew would understand exactly where to go. These natural signposts became a living map carried in the minds of sailors. But memory fades, storms erase coastlines, and not every sailor lives to tell the tale. So pirates sketched. Their maps were not works of art, though sometimes they looked that way centuries later. They were crude, but practical. Charcoal scratches on parchment, outlines of bays, small notes in the margins like fresh water here, or beware rocks. Sometimes they included cryptic symbols only the crew understood. It was less about beauty and more about survival, a living notebook of danger and opportunity. There's a thrilling irony in pirate cartography. Many of these men were outlaws, yet their survival demanded a kind of scientific precision. Some pirates borrowed skills from captured sailors who once served in royal navies. Others learned from merchants, and many adapted from indigenous people who knew coastlines far better than any European mapmaker. It was uncommon for pirates to interrogate locals about hidden inlets or to force captured fishermen to guide them through treacherous shallows. Brutal, yes, but effective. The coastline became a shared secret between conqueror and conquered, preserved on fragile parchment. Now, imagine this. A storm lashes your ship, tossing it into unknown waters. The sails rip, the mast groans, and suddenly the wind clears. Ahead, you see a strange bay no chart has ever mentioned. Do you risk entering, praying it's a safe harbor, or sail past and miss what might be the perfect hideout? For a pirate captain, such moments demanded courage and calculation. If they dared to enter, the crew would measure depths by dropping weighted ropes over the side, marking each fathom with knots. Slowly, painstakingly, they built a profile of the seabed. Was it sand, rock, coral? These notes went straight into their secret charts. Over time, these piecemeal discoveries became a network of knowledge. Certain captains became famous not just for plunder, but for their maps. A well-drawn pirate chart could sell for a fortune. In fact, some historians believe that pirates occasionally spared captured navigators, just so they could copy or steal their maps. Imagine the black market value of a parchment showing a hidden channel where the Navy's massive ships couldn't follow. In many ways, maps were the ultimate contraband, more dangerous and more valuable than gold itself. But here's where the story gets darker. Pirate maps were not always honest. Some were deliberately deceptive. Captains feared betrayal even from their own crew. If you were drawing a map to a secret cove where you buried supplies, would you really make it obvious? Some pirates created false trails, misleading drawings, or cryptic codes that only they could understand. This is where the legend of treasure maps was born. Though in reality, most weren't about buried gold, but about safe water, hidden harbors, and reliable escape routes. Picture the drama: a dying pirate captain clutching a stained scrap of parchment, whispering to his first mate, "Guard this map with your life." Not because it led to a chest of doubloons, but because it revealed a bay invisible to outsiders where the ship could vanish from pursuers. That single secret could keep an entire crew alive for years. Pirates also used the heavens as their guides. At night, the stars became a map stretching endlessly above. They might not have had the refined astronomical tables of royal navigators, but they knew enough. The North Star gave direction. The sun's position at noon allowed rough latitude measurements using a simple quadrant or even improvised tools. These calculations weren't perfect, but they narrowed the unknown. Combine that with coastlines drawn by hand, and suddenly the ocean was in T, just chaos. It was a living puzzle. They could solve piece by piece. There's also a hidden story in the tools pirates used. Imagine a battered compass stolen from a merchant ship. Its needle shaky but still pointing north, or a quadrant carved crudely out of wood. These weren't the polished instruments of academies. They were makeshift, worn, and sometimes barely functional. Yet in desperate hands, even imperfect tools could save a voyage. A pirate's map was never just lines on paper, was a patchwork of stolen science, borrowed tradition, and raw survival instinct. Now, think about this. Every coastline a pirate mapped was also a coastline claimed. Knowledge of geography meant control. If a crew knew a shortcut through reefs that others didn't, they held power. That power wasn't theoretical lie decided whether they could escape a warship, whether they could ambush a merchant vessel, or whether they would starve on open seas. Pirates weren't just criminals. They were information brokers, trading in the most precious currency of all: knowledge of the unknown. And here's the haunting part. Most of these maps are gone. Fragile parchment doesn't survive centuries of storms, mold, and blood. What we imagine as neat X marks the spot drawings are mostly inventions of literature. But hidden in archives, a few real pirate charts remain faded, scrawled, confusing to modern eyes. Some look like a child's sketch, yet every crooked line once carried the weight of human lives. Those messy strokes were enough to guide wooden ships through deadly waters. Let's step back for a moment. Isn't there something profoundly human about this? The need to transform chaos into order, to turn fear into knowledge, to take the unknown and scratch it down into something we can hold. Pirates may have been ruthless, but they shared this universal drive. Their maps weren't just navigational aids. They were symbols of control in a world that constantly threatened to destroy them. But knowledge always has a cost. Some pirates guarded their maps so fiercely that betrayal became inevitable. Crewmates killed each other over scraps of parchment. Ships burned just to keep rivals from stealing charts. And when pirates were captured, authorities hunted not only for treasure, but for these documents. The crown valued them as much as loot, because every hidden bay on a pirate's chart was also a potential naval stronghold. It makes you wonder, how many secrets of the sea have been lost forever, buried not in sand, but in forgotten ink? How many safe harbors, unknown to us today, once echoed with the sound of drunken pirates celebrating their survival? Each map destroyed erased a piece of that hidden geography. And yet, something of their spirit survives. The very myths of treasure maps, secret islands, and mysterious X's on a page come from this reality. Even if the details are exaggerated, the essence is true. Pirates mapped unknown coasts, not with perfection, but with courage, cunning, and desperation. They dared to step into blank spaces and turn them into stories, into lines, into survival guides. So the next time you see a romanticized treasure map in a movie, remember what it really meant. Behind that drawing was fear, hope, betrayal, and survival. Behind that X was not just gold, but the heartbeat of men who risked everything to leave their mark on an unforgiving world. Knowledge was their weapon, secrecy their shield, and maps their hidden treasure. And in the end, maybe that's the greatest legacy pirates left behind, not just tales of plunder, but the reminder that even in lawlessness, humans will always try to chart the unknown. Stay curious, stay brave, and if you enjoyed this journey through the forgotten maps of pirates, make sure to subscribe for more stories like this.